So over the past couple of weeks, we've been reviewing the Child's Play franchise in its entirety. I've been giving you guys my thoughts and opinions on each of the films individually. And now that we've reached the end, I think it's time we rank the entire franchise. So, let's get spooky. Greetings, everyone! My name is Nightshade. This is The Night Shift, a home for all things spooky, and today we are reviewing the entire Child's Play franchise. And hopefully the audio issue is fixed. Hopefully this video is nice and loud. The Child's Play remake was a fun video, but for whatever reason, it just uploaded really quiet, and there was no way for me to fix the audio once it was uploaded. The YouTube studio was not really much of a help. So hopefully this video is just peachy. Now there are 8 films in the Child's Play franchise, and we are going to rank them all from worst to best. And I'll let you know why I made the decisions that I did along the way, and there we go. Didn't turn on the backlight. Now let's waste no further time and go ahead and get into in 8th place, much to probably nobody's surprise, we have... I feel like this film franchise is almost perfect, with the exception being Seed of Chucky. I think this movie is a giant piece of shit. Like, the jokes don't land for me, the humor definitely does not land for me in this film. The campiness is a little bit too much. It's too campy for my liking. The kills are okay, but like, good kills does not make a good movie. And you know, the concept wasn't that good either. The story definitely sucked. The story is terrible. This movie didn't have anything going well for it, and I don't know how this got made. I don't know who approved the script or anything like that. There's a lot of confusion as to how this film got made for me. Like, I don't get it. So obviously the Seed of Chucky is definitely in dead last place, and it will remain there forever. I don't see anything being worse in this franchise than that movie. Now, moving right along, in 7th place, we have... Oh, from here on out, I do actually enjoy all of these movies. It's just there's some that are better than others. Now, the only reason this one is so low on the totem pole is because the pacing of it makes it a little bit slower. This one has a waiting game. We're all waiting for Chucky to start doing what Chucky does best. You know, because they kind of went back to form and back to basics, and this one mirrors a lot more of the original Child's Play. And, you know, it's just a little bit slower, and I would much prefer to see Chucky being Chucky like I do. That's the whole reason I watch these films, is for Chucky. But you know, the story is solid, the cast is pretty well rounded, Nika Pierce is awesome, and you know, the only reason that it's so low is because it kind of takes forever for Chucky to do his thing. Now, next up on the chopping block, we have... Now, I love Child's Play 3. This is the Chucky movie that I've probably watched the most. This is the one that was always on Sci-Fi Network whenever I was a kid, and every time that I saw it was on, I would go and watch it. But I do have a nostalgia bias towards this movie because it's, you know, it's just one that I watched all the time. Now, the reason it is so low on my list today is simply because it's a rushed mess. They did the best they could with the time that they had, and unfortunately, due to the time constraints, they didn't make it as good as it possibly could have been. Like, every character in this is just a one-note character. They don't really have any personalities outside of that. But Chucky is awesome in this film. We get a lot of good quips and a lot of good kills, and the reason it's so low isn't because I dislike this movie. There's movies that I prefer to watch more than this one. So Child's Play 3 definitely made it in 6th place, which is higher than it is on, you know, a decent amount of people's list. Like, people really fucking hate this movie, but I'm not one of them. I do enjoy this film. It's just, I like the other films just a little bit better. So next up, in 5th place, we have... Now, this one shouldn't even technically be on this list because this is definitely not a Child's Play movie. This film isn't a Chucky film. It is a missed opportunity for a separate killer doll franchise that I think would have worked pretty well. And you know, there's a lot of fun to be had with this film if you look at it through a different perspective. Don't go into this film expecting, you know, a copy pasta Chucky. That, like, you need to think about this as like its own different thing. Instead of Chucky, just call him Buddy. Instead of Andy, just call him Sandy, Candy. Could have named this movie something entirely different and renamed the cast, and you know, this could have been its own separate franchise, a different killer doll series that's better than Annabelle. You know, it's not going to be as good as Chucky, but it's better than Annabelle, and I will stand by that. Like, I will never understand the appeal for Annabelle. It just does nothing for me. I don't really have a lot of issues with this film per se. Like, I do have negatives, and you can watch the review on it. Just make sure you tune your volume all the way up, because for whatever reason, whenever I uploaded it, it uploaded super quiet. But you know, my main frustration is the fact that they call this Child's Play and not something else, because we could have had a new killer doll franchise and it could spawn off several sequels, especially, you know, with the rate that AI is being introduced into our society nowadays. This killer doll, since it's AI based, could have always been evolving, and you know, it's a missed opportunity for sure. You know what? I liked it fine enough, and you know, the Child's Play 2019 remake is in 5th place. Now, up next on the chopping block, we have The Cult of Chucky. Actually kind of surprised me in my most recent rewatch. I remember watching it before and liking it well enough that, you know, it didn't, you know, hurt my feelings or anything like that. I didn't think it was a bad movie. But on my most recent rewatch, I found myself having a great time. And, you know, that's always a good thing. I always like, you know, rewatching a movie and finding more love from it than I did previously. So much so that it made it here in 4th place, which, you know, I wasn't expecting. Like, I make a list before I rewatch the entire franchise of what I think that the ranking is going to be, and then I found myself completely switching up and moving it around, and you know, I was pleasantly surprised with how much I actually enjoyed it this go around. Like, it's a little bit more far-fetched, if you can believe, you know, a killer doll movie could be a far-fetched one. You know, it's a little bit more out there and a little bit more far-fetched, but, you know, we get to see Don Mancini's vision of multiple Chuckies introduced in this one, which is a concept that I really like, and I'm glad that they did more of that in the Chucky TV series. We got some excellent kills, the cast is all really good, the story is pretty decent, and you know, it neither picked my pocket nor broke my leg. So, you know, it's a film that I enjoyed and found myself enjoying more the most recent rewatch. So, you know, had to put it here in 4th place. And now we move into the top 3, my top 3 favorite Child's Play films. And in 3rd place, we have... Now, I love the Child's Play franchise. I love the first Child's Play movie. It's a classic for sure. Without this film, this list would not exist. It is a great film. However, I don't think it is the best one of the franchise. And I'm sure if you've watched my review series, you know what's going to be my number 1 pick. But, you know, we'll stand on ceremony a little bit longer. You know, it's a great film that doesn't really bother me or rub me the wrong way in any way, shape, or form. Of the fact that it's the only Chucky film that has voodoo kills in it whatsoever. We get the voodoo doll kill, and this is the only Child's Play film where we see that the doll is actually aging. They don't really play with that concept until the TV show. This film is more about subtlety than the other ones are. You know, they kind of have the is Chucky a killer doll? Is he not a killer doll? And we don't see Chucky start doing what Chucky does until about halfway through the film, and you know, so it's a waiting game for sure. You know, on your first viewing, I'm sure it's great, and it would be a fun watch if I ever start getting dementia or amnesia or something like that. You know, if I'm ever in a terrible car accident and, you know, forget everything, somebody needs to make sure that I rewatch Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and the Child's Play franchise. Love to rewatch everything for the first time again. That's just... You know, I do very much love the first Child's Play. I just love other films a little bit more in the franchise, if that makes any sense. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move into our number 2 spot, which is... You know, after rewatching this entire franchise again, I found an all new love for Bride of Chucky. I got hit in the feels with emotion because of the nostalgia that I had and just the time that this movie came out. It was a great time. You know, this film has its own vibe. It has its own energy that is not present in any of the other films, which for sure could be just my nostalgia for this film, because this is the first time that I ever watched a Child's Play movie in the theater. Went with my dad when I was much too young to be watching these films in the theater. And you know, I fucking love this movie simply because this was my first experience with Chucky in the theater. It was my first Child's Play film that I ever had on VHS, and I do believe that this was the first one that I owned on DVD as well whenever I finally got a PlayStation 2 that could play DVDs. And even if it is, you know, just my personal nostalgia dictating the list here, you know what? So be it. It is what it is, and it isn't what it ain't. You know what I mean? So yeah, Bride of Chucky definitely gets my number 2 spot, which means my number 1 spot is obviously going to be... Child's Play 2 will always be my number 1 in this franchise. It is by far my favorite. It's my favorite puppeteering. It's my favorite looking Chucky as well. I think this is a very menacing looking Chucky.
Been very naughty, Miss Kettlewell.
I think this is one of the most Chuckies that we get in the entire franchise. That's comparable to Child's Play 3 as well. Like, Chucky is very quippy, but he's a little bit too quippy. I think his quips are the best in this film for sure, at least in my opinion, which is what this whole video is based off of, is my opinion. And you are more than welcome to disagree with my picks and my opinions. That's fine. And if you're feeling it, you know what, go ahead and leave your ranking in the comments below. I look forward to reading them. I always enjoy seeing your guys' like opinions on films and stuff like that, and how they differ from mine. It's always a fun time. And just like that, the video's over. So if you liked the video, let me know by leaving me a like. Comment down below what you want to see on the channel next. I will do my best to accommodate. I really will. And until next time, my name is Nightshade. This has been the Night Shift, and I will see you in the next video. Stay spooky, my friends.